why don't we take some questions from the floor?
Perfect.
And do we have some questions? I have more that I can ask Cam, but we're really happy to get your input and your participation. The lady...
There.
In the back, oh, there's a couple questions.
Hi, hello. Can you hear? Yeah. My question is, I'm sure the produce is pretty good. You know, I hear everywhere on the radio or people comment. But the only one part of I'm intrigued, it's the little piece of aluminium is there. It's a long term, like if you take more than 6 months, long term can disadvantage your health from the aluminium because cancer and this.
So, ma'am, is your question, are there potential side effects with the long-term use of the SierraSil minerals?
No, there is some aluminium in your product.
Yes, so the question and the concern is there's some aluminum in SierraSil, and there is. It's actually in every food that you eat, particularly vegetables and fruits. It's also in your water and so forth. The aluminum levels in SierraSil are very low, and they're also, from when you look at bioaccessibility, which you would from a toxicological point of view, it's really truly insignificant in terms of your overall diet. And we've actually looked at long-term studies in terms of and high dosage studies, and there are not only no accumulations of aluminum in the body when using SierraSil at very high dosages, but also something pretty dramatic. It also chelates heavy metals like lead and mercury from the body. So it actually helps attract and bind heavy metals, and so you pee them out. And it's also why we say take SierraSil away from medications, because of that chelating benefit. So for the very reason that you're concerned is actually a good reason to actually take SierraSil if you're concerned about heavy metals in your body. There's a question here.
Hi, I know quite a few people who take the Voltaren cream for arthritis. What do you know about that cream?
The Voltaren or diclofenac cream, yes, absolutely, good point. That is an anti-inflammatory topical agent. You can buy it over the counter, or you could get a stronger version made up by the pharmacist. They can compound it. One of my colleagues, Art Bookman in Toronto, was involved in one of the studies for the diclofenac cream, and I asked him, Art, how does a cream on top of the skin get down to the joint and make it feel better? And he said, it's hard to know because they did a double-blind study and it showed benefit. So I said, I see the benefit, but I can't think of how it works. And he said, I don't know, because there's not significant blood levels. You don't get the side effects that the other anti-inflammatories do, yet it has some benefit short term, but it's there. So I don't know how it works, but I do recommend it. And it's safe for those people who cannot take the anti-inflammatory pills. Very good question.
Your colleague at UBC, Dr. Jack Taunton, says the one that's available over the counter that the questioner asked has 0.5% of active in it, and he describes it as, in his words, a joke. And he says to get effectiveness with that ingredient, you really need 10%, and that's 10%. What he gets made up. And so if you're looking for that ingredient, what Dr. Sajania talked about is go to a pharmacist who can put it into a higher concentration, because 99.5% of that product is filler. We do have a potential alternative product which costs a little more to purchase, but there's no filler in it. So on an active basis, it's actually pretty inexpensive compared to the Voltaren product, in my opinion. You're welcome to test it at our booth, which is near the door that you came in.
How do you get onto the Mary Pack program or the Oasis program?
Oh, how do you get on the Mary Pack program or the Oasis? You need a referral from your family doctor. And the referral forms are online through Vancouver Coastal Health for both of them.
Yeah, my own doctor doesn't like to refer anything.
I think, the Oasis program referral, I think it's money our tax dollars well spent, because it gives people a program. It's individualized. It's only 1 or 2 sessions, so I think it's money well spent.
I'm going to ask a question, actually, it's on behalf of my husband, but an X-ray has shown that he does have arthritis in his knee, and he's going to see a specialist. I know that some specialists may suggest or recommend like a cortisone shot or a gel kind of something. Can you say a little bit about that and the benefits of that?
So the question was, a husband with osteoarthritis of the knee and possibly maybe referred for a cortisone shot or the gel shot, right? And you don't know what they're going to suggest. Yes. The evidence, okay, long story short, the cortisone shots can be temporarily beneficial if the knee is suddenly worsened. So a flare-up, say you have osteoarthritis of the knee, something happened and suddenly your pain's gone from a 2 out of 10 to a 6 out of 10. It's red, it's swollen, it's painful, you can't put weight on it. That time of the cortisone shot, I would drain the knee, send it for testing, see what's going on, and I would inject it, and that'll bring that down back to a 2 out of 10. And it may last for a long time. It may last until the next time it flares. So cortisone shots are fine in that case. If your knee's always a 2 out of 10, a steroid cortisone shot is not going to be good long term, and in fact, I think I would avoid it. Okay, the gel stuff, the visco supplementation it's very expensive. We were part of a systematic review of them. I'm not that excited about them. I think they're very expensive. I have some patients that keep coming every 6 months and get them. They're safe, but I think the evidence is equivocal on those shots. So I don't push patients to go for it. If they come in and they say, "Oh, I'd like to have these," I'm like, "Sure, I'll stick it in your knee, no problem." But I'm not that excited about it. And neither of those take the place of lifestyle changes.
Or if it really gets worse, then a replacement.
Yes. So she said, so lifestyle changes, yes. If it suddenly gets worse, you could get it drained and a shot, and there's no problem with that, really. And I'm just not really there for that visco supplementation, the gel stuff.
Sorry. Just before the next question, just following up on the lifestyle changes, we've talked about exercise. What about food?
So, I'm really, after all these years, I'm wondering what's the best. Seeing my patients trying to change their diet, really it's hard to change the way we eat. We grew up eating a certain way, our ethnicities and our parents and everything, we grew up eating a certain way, and it's super hard to change that. But we can change some habits. And I think especially, and if you're a little overweight, then there's some habits we can change and some things that we could probably avoid very nicely, including sugary drinks, which are terrible, high fructose corn syrup, lots of calories, eating, and habits like eating after dinner, those sort of things. But really, if you approach food in terms of my patients, if it's the other type of arthritis, the inflammation types of arthritis, it's shown that a plant-based diet is probably helpful. High fish oils, helpful. And then I'm quoting some evidence from studies. High fish oils in the diet. So salmon, try to avoid long living fish like tuna because it has more mercury. So salmon and sardines and those fish are probably helpful. Again, like I said, it's hard to change our diet, and if you're a meat and potatoes person, you're not going to become a vegetarian, though a vegetarian diet is probably beneficial for inflammation, but you may be able to go a couple of days a week of no meat, right? So I think just being practical, I just hate to make my patients feel guilty if they're not having wholesale changes to their diet.
Question in the second row.
I've had x-rays of my hands, and the bones in the fingers showed lacy reticulation, and they believe it may be sarcoid.
Oh.
Could you tell me where I could get assistance for dealing with that, please?
So lacy reticulations could be sarcoid, absolutely possible. Sarcoid is a rare condition that's typically not dangerous. it can affect organs. One of them is the bones. I think you should see one of us, basically.
So how would I get to
Just
see
where
you?
do you live?
I live in Richmond.
There's some excellent rheumatologists in Richmond. Your family doctor will know who they are. Karani, Megan Hiltz, James Young. They will, and there's a BC Society of Rheumatology website, and you could see which rheumatologist is close to you.
So have some of them actually sort of gone directly or studied sarcoidosis so that they're more familiar with it?
They will all be familiar with
They
it. We
will.
see it all the time.
Oh, you do?
It's rare, but it
'Cause I
always
thought if
it
it's rare
frequently
that-
comes to
oh,
us.
I see.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And you have to take medication, I'm assuming, for that?
Not necessarily.
Oh, fantastic.
So I think with sarcoid, it's a rare condition, but we look for it elsewhere. We see the extent. It's totally manageable.
The pain also then?
Yes, but I suspect you have some osteoarthritis too.
Okay. All right. Thank you.